Hello YouTube. Hi, my name is Mark. This is Nixon Motorsports. If you're new to this channel, we're all about motorsports, from racing to exotic cars and even simulators. Today's video, we're at the Podium Club and we're going to do another update on the track itself, the facilities and so on. And the focus is what's ahead in 2025, what we can expect, that type of thing. So instead of it all coming from me, I thought I would just interview John, the manager over the facility here, and we'll hear it from him. So we'll go grab John and get into the conversation, okay? So we're here at Podium Club. As I said, we're gonna interview John here in just a minute, get the update from him. You know, as I just pan around, and he'll probably talk a lot more about these, but you can see a lot of the garages being built. I think they're 14, not counting here, I'm guessing 12, 14 bays per side, so double that for each garage unit, and there's 3 of them, I believe. Again, we'll get all that from John here in just a minute. We're at a members test day out here right now, so having to juggle some time, but anyway, let's go grab John. Let's hear from him. Okay, so we're here. We ran our 3rd session. We're done for the day. We're cleaning up. We're doing some maintenance, you know, and they'd let anybody over here, right? And no, I'm joking. This is John. He runs the operation here. Manager?
Yep, I'm the GM.
GM for the Podium Club here in Casa Grande, Arizona. Yes, so, you know, as I was saying earlier, I think the best way to do this is to ask directly.
You bet.
Right? What's coming, you know, kind of the vision, but, you know, what can we expect as racers in the community for 2025, right, John?
Absolutely, yeah.
So, I mean, I could look around here and there's garages, you got all kinds of stuff going on, but why don't you just talk openly about kind of where you're at, where you want to be, and what you're thinking for this calendar year.
Yeah, so obviously we have the garages going on. We have the C of Os for 2 out of the 3. We should have the 3rd C of O in the next week or so. We have asphalt going in the next week. And the next big project that we have, and we're hoping to do it in 2025, and it could be pushed a little bit depending on permitting and funding and that kind of stuff, is our track tower building / clubhouse.
Oh, nice.
And what that'll result in is not only a better place for members and folks to hang out,
sure,
but it'll also get us our proper pit lane.
Nice.
So it'll be an actual pit lane that IMSA and Trans Am and everybody else will use. So the next step up is we have a Moto America test at the end of February.
Okay.
So the goal is to have not only small time racing, but also pro racing in the state of Arizona. So that's everything that we kind of do. It is taking care of the membership, but also promoting racing as well.
Nice, nice. So back on the garage itself, or the good garages, how many stalls are there in this?
So 3 buildings, 84 total garages, 28
per. If we just span over there and kind of point and look at these. It's how many, sorry, John?
Each building has 28 garages, so we have a total of 84 single bays right now. The next set of 3 that we're going to put up after these are going to be a little bit bigger, a little bit taller.
Oh, I see.
More for race teams and that kind of stuff for folks that have more vehicles.
Nice, so you're doing both. That's actually,
yes,
that's good.
Absolutely.
So tall enough where they can put stackers if they need, or just
100%.
More of a shop?
Yeah, we want folks to be able to come in and base their operations out of here.
Right.
It's no better place than a great racetrack and good people to do it around.
So facility-wise and land, I forgot, the acreage here is massive. What is it, 3,000?
Yeah, so they own about 2,500 acres. That's total, essentially from Bianco Road all the way to Montgomery, so both exits off of the 8, and it's about 2 miles from Hannah Road south to the CAP. The Podium Club itself will be on about 640 to 660 acres. And that'll include the housing that we put just north of the track and to the west. It'll include the 2nd track that we put in, the dirt track, the go-kart track.
Yeah.
Like everything is going to be kind of the mecca of motorsports, so to speak, here.
Well, so here's why I asked that, and I knew it was a sizable piece of land. So, and I understand the goal of this racetrack. I mean, it's a community and such, and everybody, go to the website if you haven't seen that. You'll see the plans, right? But I asked on the acreage and space. I've seen some member tracks, or tracks in general, that paddock area usually suffers.
Yes, very much so.
Right? And And if this venue is going to have, you know, sizable racing events, that type of thing, you got to be prepped for that. So
Absolutely.
So you have the land.
Yes.
And you're able to do that.
100%.
Okay. Which is,
that's the goal. And we're even from here where we're looking.
Over this way.
We're going to go another 200 feet where the edge of the asphalt is.
Yeah.
The paddock's going to extend another 200 feet south from where we are here.
Okay.
So that'll extend it another, we figure another 60, 70 parking spots that are 80 feet long. And then even to the north of us, we'll extend it almost 90 feet towards the track.
Back this way.
So the paddock's going to expand by about 325 to 350 feet.
So share with me, if you would, or everybody watching, right? I mean, this, you know, construction area here, is this going to be pushed out more paddock, or what are you doing right here with all this groundwork going on?
Yeah, so this is going back another 200 feet.
From here, 200 feet. Got it.
From here, 200 feet, and then we're gonna basically have a greenbelt area behind there, so a dog walking area, a little park, and that kind of stuff for folks to walk their dogs and animals and kids to play in. But then we have the water retention basin that'll be back over there that we have to separate it from the garages, and it kind of gives us a little separation for the members that have garages, so they're not right on top of the paddock.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's very cool. The go back, so calendar year this year, so garages, clearly you're working on more paddock space here to push this back.
Yep.
And you talked about a building, what do we call that again?
We're kind of doing it twofold. It's going to be a track tower building / clubhouse.
Okay.
So
and that will be over here where those containers are currently?
Direct, just in front of those.
Okay. All right.
So we're hoping to do that this year. It could be pushed a little bit, but the goal is to try to get it this year.
Okay. So that's a big one, and obviously what you're doing here currently. What other big major things this year? Anything that comes to mind? I know you got 26 and beyond.
Yeah. Construction-wise, those are the two big things, just because it's kind of what not only the members need, but it's also what the community needs for bringing pro racing here.
So don't laugh, or well, go ahead, shoot me. But so the last video I did when we came out here in November, and it wasn't trying to be pissy with the track or anything at all. But you know, we were walking around, and you know, myself, my wife Jane, which you know, you know, we were like, okay, so they don't have running water yet. It looks like, you know, electricity is here, sort of, but it's not. Okay, and it's kind of guys, you know, chill out, right? I mean, look, we've all been to tracks all over the world throughout our lives in racing, and if you're lucky, you know, you have a dirt road to get to it, and you get on the track and not be done with it, right? But you know, this is you know, a members track, and it's envisioned to be this premier racing circuit, right? So I mean, that's the reason for the question.
Absolutely, no, it's a great question.
But where are we at on just what timing wise for, you know, obviously electricity to the garages you're going to need, you know, running water.
So the good thing is the water is actually to the garages now. So on either end of the garages, we have water bibs. So each one of the three garages has a water bib on the east and west end, we'll call it. We have a tank fill here in the middle of the paddock over there that we can use.
Is that where this machine's going right this minute? This guy? Oh, okay.
Right there.
So a water reservoir.
It'll be actually where we can basically hook in our water truck to fill up the water truck or fill up whatever else.
So we don't have wells here.
We have wells, but they're outside of the track itself.
So the track has to harness, capture rainwater.
All the stuff coming in, all the trenching is from the well. So we have all that water line coming in.
We are in Arizona. Rain doesn't happen that often.
Not very often.
There's that small detail. Wait. When it does rain, it comes down in massive buckets. Okay,
absolutely.
So, all right. So you're right. You don't need a bootload of water, but you know, at least for toilets or kind of basic thing. Okay.
Yeah, and we'll have a big water tank that will house, you know, essentially firefighting water and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Probably this year, just to make sure that we have additional stuff for that. Okay. So there's small things that are coming in that will help the facility in general and help the membership and the racers coming in, but not necessarily something that everybody would notice or see right off the top.
So let me put you on the spot a little bit. So you've been around for a while. I've known you for a while.
Yep.
This isn't your first rodeo, I guess we call it that, right? But
you bet.
I mean, just, you know, for people that are thinking about the Podium Club as a membership track, or they want to race here, you know, like we're doing this week and that type of thing. I mean, I have an opinion on it, but what's your, when people ask you, I mean, what's your, you know, this is what excites you about the Podium Club and what's going on? What comes to mind?
I think the biggest thing for me is how folks are treated, right? Obviously the track is what it is, and everybody goes to tracks all over the country, but especially from not just a membership standpoint, but just a customer standpoint, our big thing and what I've kind of preached from the very beginning is taking care of everybody like they are a member, or like this is their very first time, whether it's their first or the 100th time here. Treat them like their family, treat them like we want them, and matter of fact, treat them how we would want to be treated if we went somewhere.
Yeah, makes sense.
So I think the biggest thing for us is our customer service is what we try to do is second to none. And that's, gets outside of the track stuff.
And he's smiling, talking about himself here, by the way, if you don't know John. But no, I agree with your point. For me, what's appealing to it is, and I've heard you say this, that, the outside of the vision of building this fantastic community around motorsports is to have a track and an environment that really caters to the racers, right?
Yep.
And nothing wrong with the entertainment value and that end of it, where some people
absolutely
just want to get on track and experience a track, but there's a distinct difference between pro teams or racers that come out and test and tune and develop versus somebody's first time in a car.
100%.
And so I'm excited about that, and I can think of my previous track where I was at. That was one thing, and everybody who watches this channel knows. I did complain about that outside of the positives of that track, but it's difficult if you try to blend those together.
Right. It's very difficult, and to your point, it's one of the things that we kind of skirt that knife edge really well now.
Yeah.
Between having a membership and also doing a lot of public events,
right.
Because the whole premise behind ownership building the track was to build a racing community,
right.
And then also have some place for the enthusiasts to come and enjoy themselves as well.
Right. So actually, I mentioned pro teams. So I know you've had a few out here. Do you have? Yeah, his phone's ringing. Do you have a handful of them already that are poking at the track or coming out and using it already?
Yeah, we have quite a few of the IMSA teams. Not only the prototypes but also the GT cars, as well as Trans Am teams and Moto America teams.
Okay.
So we've got quite a good eclectic group of folks that come out and use it and enjoy it quite a bit.
Okay.
But they also have to do it in the off season, which is kind of a great time for our members and everybody else to have a good time. But they've been really good about sharing the track with the members and or getting the sessions that they need to be able to do that.
So what would you say is, if we accomplish this in 2025, it's massively successful, and then the same thing 2026, if we do this, what does success look like, where you guys, the ownership and such are happy?
I think the big thing for us is solidifying who we are and what we do.
Okay.
Ideally, in a perfect world, if I had my wish, and again, I don't write the checks, so that's
you do have
difference.
a say, though. Just to be clear.
Yeah. If I could write the check, I would for sure have our track tower building 100% put up. Just because it's not just an amenity for the members, but it's something much bigger, and it shows that we're advancing the proper way.
Yeah.
The pit lane, that kind of thing. And then secondarily after that would probably be to get the housing and that kind of stuff available for folks to buy that are interested in that, because a lot of folks want to come and live out here or at least have property out here. Those are the two big things that I would say in the very near future that I'd like to see, and especially 25 for the track tower building would be ideally the perfect scenario for me.
Okay. I would say, preaching to the positives here. And I've told you this, the where the property is easily accessible, with Highway 8 close by. So it's we've all been to tracks out, I won't use the word I always use. We've been to tracks around the world that are just in nowhere land where you don't have access to anything, right?
Nothing.
We're remote, but we're not that remote, and the size of the property here keeps it protected for many, many, many years. So,
the great thing to that point is there's a couple of things that ownership did a really good job on, and that was, one, we're the only racetrack in the state of Arizona that's zoned as a racetrack. So we're not on a special use permit. We have a decibel limit, but the decibel limit is at the property line, not at the track level. So that's a huge thing.
And it's way high, by the way, so you don't have to worry about. You don't have to worry about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's kind of the big thing is ownership has taken a very active stance in how we do it and how we can continue to improve from there. But not only that, but built the foundation for us to stand on and keep going throughout the years instead of worrying about people moving in. And even, being as close as we are to the city, we're still remote enough to where it's not bothering a lot of people all the time.
Another question. It doesn't necessarily buy membership, that type of thing, right? But it's kind of part of the persona or the track itself, the venue. I would love to see, and I'm sure it's in your plans, but a focus also on watchers. The people want to come out and just watch a race weekend, where you have some grandstands and you have stuff that allows that to happen.
Yep.
That also creates this swell of interest. And
100%.
Right?
Yeah, and that's we've been looking, and we have bleachers that we bought from a couple of different facilities, and they're not what I would consider good enough to put up for us. So we're looking at other solutions, because even during the Moto America test, it's going to be open to spectators.
But that wouldn't be anything in 25, right?
Yeah, that's at February.
Bleachers. Oh.
Yeah, so we're looking at bleachers.
It's
one of the small things.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So yeah, bleachers and even grandstands in the bigger scheme of deals. To go along the front straightaway. We're just trying to figure out how we do the pit lane and have those things in there without having to rip it up and put it down every time.
Okay. Let's talk about the track a little bit. So for the naysayers out there, if you haven't been on this track, I would say you need to do it. It actually, and we all know this, everybody who drives, right? Different tracks have a different, some tracks are exciting, some are technical, some are, they all have these variations. But think about all the tracks that everybody loves and our favorites, right?
Yep.
So it has a little bit of everything here. It is flat.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a little elevation. It's probably not, I don't know, what is it, 10 feet? I don't know. It's not very much.
We call it purposeful.
Yeah.
Folks, it's definitely not dramatic, and it's not a lot.
Right. So, I mean, it doesn't have big, massive camber corners, where it's going to catch you out. It doesn't have, the elevation hooks and things, that will, catch you out. It does have some blind corner entry pieces that, you need, that is, well, one, dangerous, but kind of cool.
You bet.
But it has enough. I like it. It's where I'm trying to go. It's got enough, and it's a fast track.
Yep.
It's got enough high-speed corners. It's got enough straightaway. I think it's actually a pretty cool track, and the back S's and that shoot through there. It has a.
You bet.
It has enough technical parts of the track that I personally think it's a great track. But have you heard anything different from others, or the pro teams coming out?
The pro teams love it because it's kind of, like you said, it's a kind of a mixtape of all the tracks in the country, and that's what they get to use. The big braking, big speeds, high speed turns, offset S's, with just enough elevation to load the suspensions up and do those things without being overly dramatic.
And it's safe, actually. The track's
super safe. We've done everything that we can. I was able to use the FIM circuit guide for a lot of our gravel pits. So we're not FIM certified, but we did use the circuit guide as a template for how we built the travel pits and stuff like that.
Yeah, so, don't understate that, actually. I mean, from a safety point of view, some tracks we all know are just insane on that end of it, but this is a very, you could lean on it and do something stupid and not worry about wrapping it in a wall necessarily, that type of thing. So, that's good.
Yeah, we've done a lot. That was one of the big things in coming from other facilities. We wanted to do everything we could. That you have to do something extraordinarily amazing to crash your car into a hard object. And we did that on purpose, just because, one, we want you to test, we want you to push the limits, and we want to be one of the safest places where folks don't mind coming out and pushing the limits. So that was extraordinarily important for us, is to have a lot of runoff room, and then the runoff room being as smooth as it is, to where you can run off and not damage your car and rip wings off and that kind of stuff.
So that's really, I think, it for the videos. Just kind of hear from you directly, a short little piece. But any last minute thoughts that you have, John, as far as last minute thought, something?
The big thing I would say is, if folks are interested in checking it out, every day that we're open, that it's not a closed or exclusive day, come on out and check us out. Even if it's just a member day, you can see some cool stuff. But secondarily, come out for the Moto America test and get a chance to meet the pro drivers, but ultimately just come out and enjoy it. That's what we're here for. We want the people to enjoy it, whether they're driving, riding, or just spectating. Yeah,
and you keep the website pretty updated, so
all the way through the end of the year. The website's all the way up to date with the calendar and everything else.
Yeah, so focus on that, and I would suggest, I think it's on the Podium Club's website, or maybe it was a separate website, I don't remember, but the community vision and map here of what's planned over, the next, 10, 15 years, whatever that is?
At least the next 10 or 15 years, and from there you can go to the Atessa website.
That's it,
So Atessa's the project as a whole, and Podium Club's just one of the tenets of it.
So, and that's pretty cool to see that. Just looking at that, the ambition, the goals of what this thing is, if it ever reaches all of that, will be insane. So Yeah, very cool. I appreciate the time, and
Awesome.
you know, I think we'll do this once in a while just for everybody to keep you updated.
Yeah.
And allow you to
I love it.
shoot your thoughts, and I'll get questions from the folks here and write them to you. But
Fantastic.
I appreciate it, John.
Of course, thank you.
Okay. So I hope you found that informative. The interview with John here, the GM for the Podium Club. I think that's the way to do it. I hope you guys had some value out of that. Send your thoughts, your comments, your questions, right? I would appreciate that. If you do, and you have specific things you would like me to address here at the track, I'll be happy to do that. My thinking is to maybe do these updates every couple months just to share with everybody. Members tracks are cool, right? And for the racers out there and the community at large, you know, it's very cool to see a lot of these member tracks coming up around the country. So, but that's it for today. I appreciate you watching, and you know, that whole hit the subscribe button thing and such, but I would appreciate it if you would do that. But that's it for now. Until next time, ciao.